Welcome to Honest Whispers Unboxing and Inspection. On this video, I'll be unboxing and inspecting Wonder Woman, second premium format figure, exclusive version, released by Sideshow Collectibles. And they ended up replacing the one I unboxed and inspected, the one with the paint defect on the base. And at the same time, I ended up breaking the left bracelet as the lasso fell off. It brought down the left hand, and basically a tip of the bracelet broke. So I will go ahead and start opening this and inspect it piece by piece. This is the foam container that's inside the box. I just untaped it and I'm about to pull this out. And from my experience, this should be upside down because they have the Sideshow, but then the Sideshow symbol up like this, but then I'm pretty sure the figure itself will be upside down, and voila, just like that, as predicted. So let me go ahead and turn this around. And now I have it turned around so that when I open this, everything will be right side up. So far, just looking at everything, I don't see anything broken. I am worried about these fire pieces, and this is kind of how it ends up broken when the back isn't. There's, like, for instance, when there's so much stress right here and it pulls on the back. Now, I don't remember this piece being sharp like that. And looks like right here is broken as well. So I might go ahead and not even inspect this and then see if I can get this returned. That sucks. Yeah, very disappointing. But this one doesn't have that paint defect where it had that sore thumb, like a big gray stroke on the thing, so that's not bad. But yeah, this fire piece is definitely a broken one because it has a bigger whether it be that one or this one. So pretty disappointing. Now the thing about it though is so let me see, everything else seems fine. Let's see if the eyes look okay. Eyes look kind of symmetrical. Yeah, eyes look great. They're compared to the first one and slightly the second one I got. Yeah, sorry I'm not putting this together. Well, you know, I guess I could, but again, I don't want to do it if it's already broken, so quite unfortunate. So yeah, this is the lasso that basically the lasso, this loop part, before I even took it apart, when I was kind of trying to slowly take it apart, you know, it fell off as it kind of shook a little bit. And when this lasso, this loop part fell off this hand, it basically pulled this, it's magnetic, and it pulled this down. So when these fell, this hand stayed put. So this hand didn't fall, only the metal lasso fell. And the lasso didn't break, but then when this popped out, and basically it broke this little tip right there. So I just wanted a couple parts replaced, but they ended up replacing the whole thing. So this is where I'm at. And disappointingly, I can already see that this, and you can see on the back, there's like this broken plastic residue going on. So yeah, I'm not even gonna take it out, let them go ahead and inspect it, I guess. I'll take a couple pictures and then just go from there. Man, disappointing. So at least I have this video for evidence, because look right here, plastic should not be, the bag should not have this stain right here, this white stain. So that's basically because it was broken. So upon closer inspection and looking at reviews from other photos, this isn't actually broken at all. This is actually in pretty good condition. What threw me off is these little plastic specks, as you can see, and they did rub off against the plastic bag that it was in. There weren't any little pieces that fell out or anything like that. And once again, after reviewing other photos, doesn't look like anything's damaged here. And again, no paint defect, nothing's messed up or anything, so pretty good. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish inspecting the rest since there's nothing wrong with this. So overall, the legs look like they're in good shape. It fit in pretty smoothly, so I'm pretty happy about that. And it does go in pretty much all the way as well. The first one I had, I remember the foot didn't really fit in all the way, at least the right foot. Otherwise, don't see any damages or any chips or anything like that on the leg, the armor. Although the stars on her butt actually looks way more off than the first two I got. As you can see, you could see, especially these two stars, they're way too close together, while this area is just too separated. So, and also the way the stars go down, it doesn't really line up with her butt crack like it did on the other ones that I received. So definitely it does show some differences. Even here in the front, you can see how it's a bit offset. And one telltale sign would be the two partial stars that you would see. You only see one little tip here on her right side, but her left side you could see like two pointed angles, so bit off on that. And don't see any other paint imperfections or anything, but for me, the star spangled panties, that's kind of one of the key features that I do look at, or that is important to me. Otherwise, looking at the base again, due to the design itself, you really can't see any type of imperfections. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue on with the next piece. So with the belt, this actually does show a little bit more of the stars being offset. especially here. You can see the middle point. Everything doesn't really line up. Now I understand her body is contorting a bit and it's not supposed to be perfect all the way through, but for me, even though if it's a little bit offset, what's bothering me is the spacing of these stars right here. So definitely don't remember it being this bad, so I'm a bit disappointed, especially the second one. I believe that I inspected or made a video of, I had pretty almost perfect alignment with the stars. So on to the next piece. Okay, as for the upper torso, again, don't see much defect or imperfection or anything like that. Everything looks pretty good as far as paint and the molding is concerned. Now, this upper torso doesn't fit quite well as the other ones in the past, or two prior ones that I received. There is a bit of a gap. Right now it's actually pretty good, but the belt doesn't make it fit in completely, but for me this is good enough. I guess you could see the gap right here at most. Beyond that, and then you could see a bit of a gap right here as well, because it just isn't in. See, the belt kind of gets in the way right now, so I never really had that issue before, although it's at this point, I mean, it's stable enough and it's not noticeable enough for me to really ask for any exchange or anything like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move forward with the head next. And on this, the head actually didn't fit in nice and complete, but at this point I don't see any gaps or anything like that, so I would definitely keep this. But then most important thing here is that her eyes, this is the most symmetrical eyes that I've seen. This is the third one, and this is again the most symmetrical eyes that I've seen so far, where both her eyes look like they're pointing towards the same place, and you can actually kind of see where she's looking at. So she doesn't have any googly eyes going on, or slightly offset, or even any kind of cross-eyed effect going on. So very happy with the eyes and overall paint, but as I said, it doesn't fit all the way, so it kind of wobbles. So it doesn't, again, it's not enough for me to ask for any kind of replacement or anything like that. So far, the only thing that bothers me, once again, is the way the stars are a bit offset. So I might want to review that, see what they say if I'm comparing it with the other ones. If it's really noticeable, I would probably contact Sideshow regards to that. I would even pay for a second one or as a backup if that would be the case, as long as nothing is broken, especially like these fires, and I don't want to risk returning that again. So, and perhaps if I did have the leg changed, it might be possible that the torso might fit better, although I don't think that's really the case. It feels like the torso and the belt is really the issue here. You know what I might do is take this off and put it without the belt. So this is it without the belt. I can't really tell who the culprit is here, as far as whether it be the upper torso or the lower torso, because the upper body, I mean, it doesn't fit completely even right here, it should be just flat and should stay still, but the way it wobbles this much, really can't tell. And I thought maybe I had the belt on backwards or upside down, but then looking at the shape right here, as far as the way it fits in the back, I did have it on the proper way like that, so it wasn't my mistake or anything like that. But again, the past statues did not wobble this much, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the belt back on, or let me show you from the front as well. So you could see here, I mean, it's supposed to have a gap, obviously, so you have room for the belt, but the fact that, I don't know if the bottom part of where these things fit, again, it's magnetized, so I don't want to. So I was thinking maybe this part wasn't flat enough where my pinky is pointing, or even right here, but then looking at it, I mean, it seems flat, so I don't know what the issue is and why it's, if something's getting in the way, and I can't tell which part. I mean, obviously by gravity it falls into this position, so this is probably the proper way. It's not a huge issue, but definitely wanted to point out the difference between this particular statue and the one I've received before. So I'll go ahead and put the belt back and then move on with the hands and lasso. Actually, before the hands, I forgot the shield, and this one, so far the way it fits, I did kind of had a bit of an issue at first, but it fits nicely. The paint job itself, just like the other ones, pretty consistent as far as the lines go. You do see some bleeding here, or line a little bit getting either tapering or widening, especially right there at the silver circle or the silver ring, especially the outer ring right there where it meets the red. Other than that, I mean, that's something you have to look really close at, because when you look at it from afar like this, everything looks pretty good actually. So still nothing to complain about, at least enough to, you know, I wish everything fit nice and perfectly like the first two kind of did compared to this one, but at this point, as long as it's not broken, I'll be happy with it. So now on to the lasso and arms. Actually, here is the lasso and hands. Nothing broken yet, but then I did want to point out how this thing was a bit too bent up, so I couldn't even fit it in. So I'm gonna try to unbend this a little bit, and then I'm sure it'll fit. Okay, so after that slight adjustment here that I made, because this part was so sharp that I couldn't get the hand to come down. Now at this point, I mean, I would like to have this a little bit less angled, and I could always fix that myself and make it nice, more curved. But as long as it fits, and I did make sure that this lasso right here, the way it kind of bends out, make sure it's kind of stable so it doesn't fall off, so it does have some stability. Because what happened last time was that the lasso fell off, and when the lasso came down, it pulled this down with it, and when this hit the ground, that little tip broke. So definitely something you do need to be careful with when you're handling the statue. Otherwise, the way the lasso looks, they did a fantastic job on the design. The way it shines and has light reflect off it definitely has a nice effect without doing something silly like making it light up or something like that. Which, speaking of lighting up, there is one thing here. It looks like there's like a little plastic bag that got stuck here. Alright, so let me go ahead and the final piece, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this up and make sure that the light works. This is the exclusive version, so it does come with the skirt. So I do want to inspect the skirt itself, even though I'll probably never use it. Still, if I do sell it or resell it, basically it does have much higher value than without the skirt. So might as well, everything looks good. So, to the wire. And so finally, the last piece, I got it plugged in. It's ready to go. There is a button here, basically a on-off switch. So once I turn it on, there it is. And it doesn't just stay lit, but it does kind of, how you say, brightens and dims, kind of, to give that real life fire look. Which I'll go ahead and turn this light off to give you a better effect. So definitely, again, even though they did change some traditional designs here and there, it's almost like the old traditional look mixed with the new movie look, especially when you look at the shape of the upside down triangle tiara. And even the belt, it has more of that new Wonder Woman movie symbol. But for me, this is my favorite Wonder Woman statue of all time at this point, just because it just has that epic scale to it, and the light, the way it lights up, that's a huge plus for me as well. So happy overall with the condition and everything. My only issue again is the Star Spangled panties, just the way it's a bit offset and the stars misaligned. So I'm hoping I can just get this one part exchanged if possible, or if they'll allow me to buy a second backup piece, I wouldn't mind that as an option as well. So I will definitely go back, review if the stars really aren't as bad compared to the prior ones that I received, then I'll go ahead and just keep this, because it's not too bad the way it looks. Just because there's enough amount of stars, you either get kind of lost, or at least the stars just kind of tend to blend with each other a little bit better, especially when I turn different angles here and there. But again, when I look at it here, it does bother me that these two stars are so close. This one's all spaced out, so something just seems a little bit off. And I mentioned in the front, you could tell the front's a little bit offset. This doesn't really bother me as much, especially because a lot of the angles you look at, you don't really see it as bad. So again, it just looks like they started off on the bottom right, but then it just kind of misaligned on the top area. Again, definitely something I would recommend. I know it's Definitely need the space and to save up some money for it. But if you can, I would recommend it. Otherwise, it is a bit of a hassle just dealing with something so massive. Especially anything at quarter scale. Definitely hard to take care of. But still, it is something that one can manage to always make room for if they really wanted it. Anyway, don't want to ramble on. Just want to give you a couple more different angles here, and then I'll go ahead and sign off. Well, there you have it. Thank you for watching. Until next time, continue reading the King James Version Bible and eat your vitamin C's daily.